Hi, how are you? Okay, this feels a little weird. Well, I'm here telling my story. I wanted to share my story about the process of grief and yeah, and why I want to share my story, why not? If it helps someone to relate and not feel so lonely, I think it's a blessing. In my case, my story of grief um, is I lost my mom. I'm an only child, and I was very close to my mom. So um, it it changed my life completely. And I'm also a Christian believer. I believe in the Bible. I believe in the promise of God. But sometimes I think that I don't know. Sometimes because you're a Christian and you believe something, sometimes I think you're too hard on yourself. You even question your own faith, because, so like you see death is every day around us in the news, or, people we know, they die, but it's like when it happens to you, wow, it really like, wow, is this even real? Like you can't even comprehend, like, and especially the way it happened to me. So anyway, I wanted to share my story, and if it helps someone, I'm happy. That makes me happy. And if you want to share your story, feel free to leave a comment below. Well, my story starts like this, just a introduction. Well, I just turned 37 like a few days ago, and I'm a working, person. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm an only child. I end up bringing my mom to live with me. Uh, I live in the New York area, and I moved like about an hour away from the city. And I'm an only child. I'm very close to my mom, so I had her come and live with me to help me, and we love each other's company. We do everything together, and she's a very fun person to be around. We love going on trips and stuff like that, and do a lot of things together. And my son adores her. So anyway, story short, on 2017 in August, my friend and I at work, we were talking about trips, talking about traveling, and we were talking about like what's in your bucket list of places to go, and I told her I really want to go to Israel as a Christian believer, as a Bible believer. I'm like, wow, it'd be awesome to go to Israel. And she said, someone that I know, and I knew that person too. She's going to Israel, so if you want to ask her, maybe you could go with her. So story short, I talked to her, and she said call the coordinator, and if there's space, we could go. That'd be so great. So I did call, and she's like, yeah, you guys are actually number 33 and 32 and 33. I think that's the max they will take in the group. I said, oh wow, so sign me in. So when I told my mom, like, do you want to go to Israel with me? She's like, yes, that's always been my dream. And I'm like, I know, that's all. I didn't know that was like her dream. Like, I knew she wanted to go, but I didn't know it meant like that much to her. So that even made it more special. So I said, it's going to be like a mother and daughter trip. Like, how awesome. So, yeah, so then, then I was like, I told my husband, he was like, okay with it. That'd be cool for me and my mom to do a trip like that, mother and daughter trip. And then I called my aunt, and she came home to watch my son, to help my husband with my 6 year old at the time, 5, 6 year old at the time. So me and my mom went to this trip. We had an awesome time. We got baptized in the Jordan River. We visited the area of the Sea of Galilee. I actually have a album here that I made for her that I actually you see, gave it to her as a gift. See right here, that's me and my mom. This is the Gideon Spring. If you read Judges 7, it says the story about the 300. So we were there, where they were drinking water. Like, the story's in Judges 3. I mean, Judges 7, yeah. So you can read the story about the Gideon Spring. And this is like me And my mom, the first day we got there, Jaffa. Um, the city of Jaffa. That's where Peter got the revelation about the animals being clean, that you could eat anything, that what matters what goes into your heart, not into your, not what matters is not what you eat, it's what comes out of your mouth, because that's what comes out of your heart. So anyway, that's you read the Bible, Jaffa's there. Anyway, this is my beautiful mom. This is her again in the Sea of Galilee. We were in if you could see it there, in the boat of faith. Oh, look, this rock, I found it in the Sea of Galilee. I'll tell you the story of this rock. It's like the shape of a heart. How cool, huh? I'll show you guys next time. Well, I picked like a bunch of random... Well, I'll tell you the story when I finish showing you. Anyway, let me see what... Oh, look. Look how cool. This is where they found like 1,000 copies of the Dead Sea Scrolls in those caves, which was pretty cool. Dead Sea, the mud. Oh, we were praying. We're not Jews, but we were praying for them at the Wailing Wall. It's pretty cool. Yeah, my mom was so happy. Oh, look at me. Trying to be cute. Oh, look. Jerusalem. This is my mom. Anyway, so this is like, see how young she was. So this, oh look, this is very beautiful. That's the Church of All Nations. This is where the Garden of Gethsemane is Bethlehem. Oh, beautiful. Look at this. The garden tomb. This is where the Christians go. It's actually 2 tombs, but I really like this one. This is my mom. Look, she's standing right here. It says here, Jesus Christ declares with power to be the Son of God by the resurrection from the dead. So that was very... kind of like to have it open there. Oh, Golgotha. I don't know if you could see the I think over here you could see the skull. Where this Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified. Garden of Gethsemane, look, that's so cool. The olive trees are so old. Anyway, let me just show you this last one. We got baptized in the Jordan. Look how cool. This Bible verse is written like in so many languages, so cool. That's my mom. So it was beautiful. We had an awesome time. So I made this album for her for our trip so she could show her friends. And she was really, happy about it. And so yeah, so we went to this beautiful trip. Like I said, we visit the area of the Sea of Galilee and all the tourist places you can imagine, and Jerusalem as well. And it was just really, really like awesome. And then we come. My baby's over there. Let me show you. So cute. He's 5 months. He was a preemie. So so we went. We visited all the places. It was an awesome trip. And when we came back, we got all the souvenirs for all our family and friends. Like everybody asked you for like stones and rocks and sand and oil. Everybody wants like a little piece of Israel. So it was really fun. So let me tell you real quick the story about the rocks. So I picked like 10 rocks, and I when I came home and I was giving them away to like souvenirs, like for family, I just kind of picked 2 for me and put them away. I didn't even look at them. Then I gave the other ones away. And then when I noticed the rocks that I picked for me, one had the shape of a heart, and then the other one had like a Y inscription in the rock, which was pretty cool because my name starts with the letter Y. So it was like really cool. I mean, I found them in the Sea of Galilee, which is such a special sea, and the rock being the shape of a heart was like so cool. And just thinking about everything that happened in the Sea of Galilee. So it was just so amazing. So, my mom had so much, she had a great time. We had a great time. We visit, all the places we wanted to visit, and it was just great. It was 10 amazing days. So, story short, we get to, that's in March that we went to this trip. In May, my mom had her health issues, but, she's a strong woman. Like, you just think she's going to live like, your parents are going to live forever. Well, story short, in May, she got really sick, and she had like a back pain. Hi, I'm back. I got interrupted by a call. Anyway, so my mom, she got real sick, and she got real sick in May, and she had a pain in her back, so she was hospitalized. And when they did all the exams and everything, they told us that she had a tumor in her liver. She used to take a lot of medication for other, like, she had high blood pressure and other issues and stuff. But I mean, my mom doesn't even drink. But story short, she had a tumor in her liver. And one time she did had meningitis. Anyway, but she got through that, whatever. So she was taking medication for that too, because you gotta take medication after. So so she so when we are in the hospital, the doctor comes in and tell us that she has like a tumor the size of a basketball. Not a sorry. God. She had a tumor the size of a baseball in her liver, and but they said it was in her liver, and that they were able, they were gonna see if they could take it out and then take it from there, because the liver is one of your organs that could reproduce itself again. And and it was the tumor was cancer. They did all the tests and everything, but we were hopeful because they said they were able to take it out, but she was in a lot of pain. They kind of sent her home for a few days, but she was in so much pain, so she had to go back. So technically in May, she was in the hospital, hospitalized. So story short, the day comes where they're supposed to take the tumor out, and the surgery was supposed to take 4 or 5 hours. 3.5 hours into the surgery, the doctor comes out. And I just felt my heart sink, and I just knew it wasn't good. Like, why she came out so early out of the surgery. And, and it wasn't good. She told us that when she went, she couldn't take the tumor out. She said because when they went in, my mom had the cancer spread all over inside her. That it spread all over her intestines, and they were so fragile that they ripped the intestines, and they had to do like an emergency surgery because of the cancer. They couldn't close the intestines, so it just got so crazy and complicated. The cancer was all over her, inside her body. That's why she had pains like kind of everywhere. And she said it was nothing that they could do. But at the same time, she said, well, she did tell me that night, like, she didn't know if my mom was going to make it. So she was in the ICU for 3 days. And actually, my mom did woke up from the ICU. She was there for 3-4 days. But the first day she was there, they said that she didn't know if she was going to wake up. So it was still, like, unreal. Like, yeah, she's just going to be okay. Like I'm just talking to my mom. I remember when we wheeled her out in the bed to do the surgery. She was saying, Jesus, Jesus, she was giving me the thumbs up. And it's like I just finished talking to her. And now, a few hours later, the doctor's coming to me telling me that she couldn't do anything. The cancer's everywhere. And they can't take the tumor out. But you always lose hope, especially someone like my mom. She was such a strong lady. I will never think, I never thought that she was gonna die. It's just crazy. Like, you never think that's gonna happen to you or someone close to you, even though that's such a reality. So yeah, so I what happened after that was my mom did woke up after 3 4 days. She became conscious to the point that she was able to be removed to a room. And in that process, I remember this is my experience that I had. I remember praying for her. I closed my eyes and I was praying for her, praying, just asking God to please heal her and have her be with us more time. And as I'm praying for her healing, I close my eyes and I see my mom. It was like a vision. Like, I felt like I was just there, like, witnessing something. But my mom was dressed in this beautiful white robe, like very white. Like, I never seen a white like that before. And she was walking towards a light. And her face was so happy, like she was seeing someone that she hasn't seen in a long time, or she was just so happy she couldn't wait to get there. Like, she wasn't looking to the side or looking to the back, she just wanted to get there. And as I'm watching her walk into that light, I started saying to myself, oh my God, you made it, you made it. I'm so happy for you. I felt so happy for her at that moment. And she went, and there she went on her way. And then, I kind of opened my eyes and I was like out of the vision that I had. I don't even, and it was like, wow. But at the same time, it's still not clicking to me like my mom won't be here long, for long. So then then after that, I never told my mom about that. And another thing that happened to us when we were in the ICU is that she had a dream. She told me that she saw that she was like in a room or something like that, and there was like newspapers and papers just flying around the room. And when she picked one of the pages, it said Ezekiel 17. And and I kind of read it. It's about, well, I'm not going to say the story. I don't even remember exactly what the story about. But at the end of Ezekiel 17, it talks about how God is the owner of all things. Like, like he has the last word on things. That's kind of like the message I got from Ezekiel 17. And so then after that, she was out of ICU, and she was, placed in a room, and they kept treating her. But what was crazy about, is that they never used the word like your mom's gonna die. They just kept saying, she's gonna be deteriorating. We'll be putting this, putting that, and next thing you know, she couldn't eat anymore. So they had to put like something in her, like, eat through liquid. So that kind of made it worse, and she couldn't go to the bathroom. So that made it even worse. And it was just one thing after another. And my mom was just telling me, you know what, we're going to fight this. Let's go to the cancer hospital. There's like a cancer hospital here in New York, Caterin, I think it's called. So I said to myself, you know what, yeah, let's take her to the hospital and see, maybe they try another approach and she could get better. It's always good to get a second opinion. So I was hoping to get her stable, to get her out of the hospital, and be able to get her there, and then maybe get another opinion. And but at the same time, it's like I'm looking at my mom, and it doesn't even cross my mind like she's gonna die. And that's one thing that I think, and I learned about this whole thing, is that, I mean, I don't know, when you're in the situation, it's like because me and my mom, like, we never talk about you're gonna die. I feel like we kind of never said our goodbyes, because we always talk about we're gonna fight this and we're gonna get this done, and we're gonna get you out of here and try to get a second opinion and see what we could do. It's like we didn't want to accept the reality. So I felt like I wish we could have talked about this. What if you don't make it? But we didn't. Anyway, so we always talk about, I never told my mom, not even, because even the doctors, they asked me, like, if I wanted to, if and I said, no, don't tell her anything, because that's just going to crush her hopes. Like, I didn't want the doctors telling her, because I was like her proxy and everything, so I didn't want the doctors telling her that she was going to die. And I didn't tell her either. I mean, I did say to her, like, well, they think they can do nothing for you here, but we're going to go to a hospital, we're going to fight this. And she said, yeah, the God has the last word, not them. I guess that's what was my way of telling her what the doctors were saying. So anyway, so the day came that she was a little better, and we got a place for her to go, a place that was able to they were going to be able to deal with her feeding situation, and they were going to be able to take her in an ambulance to the new hospital and bring her back, and she was going to have 24-hour care. So when she got to the place, she was feeling really sick, and they didn't accept her. They sent her back to the emergency room. They said that she wasn't doing well. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. Like, she just left the hospital. She was there for like a whole month and a half. And, she leaves the hospital just for like about a day and a half, and then she's back in the hospital again. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And that's when, actually, I've been off all that time. So that day, because my family started coming, my mom had 6 siblings, so they were kind of old, because I'm an only child, so I don't have brothers and sisters to help me out. So her siblings came from California, from Honduras, they came from Belize, they came from different places to help me out, and which I'm very grateful for that. So they were there with her, like her brother and her sister, some in-laws, they were there with her, and I had to kind of go back to work because I've been out of work for so long. So when they called me at work, they were like, you have to go, you have to come, because you have to decide, you have to make some decisions of what you want to do. You have to come. I'm like, but anyway, so when I got to the hospital, I kind of knew that things were just going really, really bad. I kind of lost it at work. I got into, I don't know, I felt like my hands were just like tight like this, like I couldn't open them. I just started crying. Like, I didn't care who was looking at me. It was just, but everybody was really, really helpful. They even drove me to the hospital. And when I got there, they told me that her kidneys were failing, and that I had to, they're going to have to do dialysis in order to kind of keep her going. But the point is that the cancer is everywhere. So even if they do the dialysis, it's not going to save her life. And in the process of doing it, they might have to put tubes to kind of help her be alive. And that was kind of like sad, because I did remember she did say it 3 times that she didn't want it tubes, and she was saying, I'm not gonna die. But she did say that, like, she's so cute. She's like, I'm like, Mom, do you still got the love of God and the peace of God in your heart? She's like, yes. That was the last coherent thing that she told me, like maybe a day before she passed away. Because she was kind of like on medication, so sometimes she would say things that didn't make any sense. That's why I wish I would have talked about this subject with her before the medications kicking really severe, because it's like you can't really talk to them when they're really, really sick anymore. Anyway, so when they asked me that, I was, I didn't know what to do, because she told me she didn't want to get tube, and they told me, well, if she does the dialysis, she's so weak, and she got an infection like pneumonia at this point, and the cancer and all that. Everything is so complicated, and they were like, well, she, most likely she's gonna need to get tube. and she didn't want that. So, a good friend of mine from work, she was like there, and she was saying, well, this is something that you and all your family, not only you, like you and all your family, because you shouldn't feel like this is a decision that you made. So I find myself there in that hospital having to decide about my mom's life, having to realize that, oh my God, like my mom doesn't have much time. So after talking to everybody in my family, we decided that the best thing to do was to make her feel comfortable. Yeah, because I didn't want her to have pain. And, I made sure of that. Like, my aunt used to be in the hospital with her throughout the day. And I live like an hour and 30 minutes from the hospital. But I will drive home. Like, I will leave the hospital at 10 a.m., 9 a.m., come sleep a little bit, be with my son, and then get ready and leave like at 7 p.m. So I will be like, oh, the night shift, I will be with my mom. Because I didn't want her to be by herself. She didn't want to be by herself either. So I made sure that there was always someone there with her all day. But that night shift is really hard. So I was the one who used to be with her all night. And my aunt used to be with her during the day. But anyway, so at that point we're deciding, like what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Are we going to tube her, or are we going? So anyway, we decided to just make her feel comfortable until the time came. And they transfer her to a different, and this is like, she gets discharged to go to the place that supposedly was going to give us an opportunity to get a second opinion. And that same day, she's taken back to the emergency room, and they telling us about the liver failing and everything getting more complicated. And now, next thing you know, we're deciding about hospice. So she's in the section of the hospital that's like a hospice. And now there she is. And we're just waiting. So, technically, this news was given like around 3 p.m. And the decision to make her feel comfortable was like around, 4 or 5 p.m. And like around 6:30, she was already in the hospice area. And I'm just there with her, holding her hand, even kind of watching TV like we used to do it. And, the first day that she got diagnosed with the cancer, God put in my heart Psalm 23, which was really comforting to me. And that whole day I had like Psalm 23 in my head. So our pastor came and he started preaching the word, and he started on Psalm 23. So it's really special. So, I remember I left the hospital like at 3 a.m. because I she was like the breathing. And that's another thing. Like, I feel like the hospitals, they don't prepare you and tell you what you're going to see. And she wasn't crying, she wasn't screaming, but her breathing was like difficult. And it was really like, really heartbreaking to see her like that. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to be there when she really left this world. I'm like, oh God. So I left like at 3:30. And I said, I'm going to go home, take a shower, and sleep for a few hours. If you could even sleep. So I came home, I took a shower, I laid down. And I think I didn't even want to think. Like, I did slept some hours. Then, they called me. They were like, she's not doing well, you have to come back. So me and my husband and my son, we went to the hospital to say our goodbyes. He went to say our goodbyes and with my son. And he brought my son back home, so I stayed in the hospital. But I was taking like my sweet time getting to the hospital because I didn't want to see her die. And so next thing you know, I call one of my friends. we used to go to church together, and he's a preacher in Texas, and I call him to pray for my mom. My mom really appreciated him a lot, and he did this beautiful prayer for like 30 minutes, and we were all crying, and it just felt so peaceful. And then, after before the prayer, I just felt in my heart like to call everybody that I thought about, or some siblings and family that just couldn't make, one of the siblings that couldn't make it. And some siblings that were there for like a month, and then they had to go back home. So they were not there exactly at that moment, but they were there when she got, in the hospital like a month before. So I call everybody, some people that I just came to my heart to say goodbye. They said their goodbyes to her. And then I called my friend in Texas. He prayed this beautiful prayer. It was just really awesome, and it was so peaceful. I just felt like the angels were there. It was just, and so we're all around her. And at one point, she's breathing hard. We were giving her some water. And I don't know, I have this, I can't even, like, that when the Bible says that God gives you peace that surpasses all understanding, I had that peace. It was just amazing. Like, I was so strong at that point, And I remember that I used to tell my son, give me nosy, like put my nose next to his nose. And he will, do that. So she used to tell me, oh, that's so cute. So I told her, like, Mom, give me nosy. So I put my face next to her face, like close like that. And I felt like her last breath, and her face started getting cold. And when I move up, she was gone. But it was a very serene moment. I mean, I'm surprised how I'm very, like, serene telling you all this and remembering. Because there's times that, that I cry like it just happened yesterday. It's been a healing process, This happened in 2018. But it's still like yesterday. So anyway, I put my face next to her face, and when I lift up, like, I literally felt her last breath. And she was gone. When I lift up, like, she was not breathing anymore. But everybody was really calm, and it was just, like, wow, I couldn't. But I don't know, I kind of find myself comforting, like, my other relatives, my other family. Instead of digesting the whole situation. Then it was really, really hard, because the whole process of being in the hospital and seeing someone you love in their last hours and minutes, especially the way my mom passed away literally in my arms. Like, I was literally hugging her with my face next to her face like this when she passed away. I mean, now that I think about it, she always wanted to be around her family, and she was surrounded by her family when she passed away. And she passed away in my arms, literally. And I was her baby. And she passed away in my arms, not alone. And the day before she said to me that she felt the peace of God and the happiness of God in her heart. That's my son. Anyway, so that was wow, So then it was time to plan for the funeral. So a friend of mine's kind of helped me out. So at that point, I'm very strong. I'm comforting other people, trusting in God, thinking about our beautiful trip that we had in Israel, that, and, planning for her funeral. But at this time, there's so many people around me, it's so busy, so many things going on, and it's like you don't have time to digest. The worst comes after, I will say. The healing process and comes after everybody's gone, which I will share in another video. I'll probably do it at nighttime when it's more calm at home and stuff. But yeah, so technically, I decided, and I'm gonna leave it at this. I decided to cremate my mom because I live currently in New York City, but I don't want to live here like forever. I want to move somewhere, so I figure wherever place I decide to move, that I want to live there for like until I'm old, whatever. I'll find a place like a cemetery, and I just place her. Her resting place could be there, but I don't want to have to move New York City, and her resting place is like in New York, and I'm in another state. So I figure, you know what, I don't want that. So I'm going to cremate her because that's the only way for me to take her wherever I'm planning to go in the future, God willing. And when my time comes, if Jesus hasn't come yet, I could just be next to her. But I wouldn't want to like live in another state or be forced to stay in New York City because my mom's resting place is here. So that's why I decided to cremate her. Well, well, you know, so this happened like she got sick in May and she passed away in June, literally in 2 months. Like my mom, we're going about our lives. We're going in this trip in March. We come back. She's sick in May, literally like a month after we got back from Israel. She was sick, and then she passed away in June. That's where I find myself in 2018 in June. I'm like, wow. So many things happen after that, which I'll probably talk about in another video and share. So maybe someone could relate or want to share the story with me in the comments. But it was really, really, hard because what comes next is the most difficult part because you question your faith, you question what you believe. And it's still like a phase of denial. You still can't believe like your mom is not there, especially when I used to come home and not see her there, and I think that the part that hurt the most is, because everything, that we went through with my son, she was always there. She loved my son so much. So every little cute thing that my son will do, we rejoice together. So her not being there was so hard. And having to explain to my son that, my son calls my mom Pita. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, my son calls my mom Pita. So, having to explain to him that his grandma's no longer going to be with us anymore after she been with us every day, and she was in the hospital for a month and a half, and next thing you know, is she coming back from the hospital? No, she's not. So everything happened so quick. Everything happened so fast. So the next video I probably share my journey when it comes to healing, because I do think that you will always live with this, like as time goes it gets better, but don't think it's not gonna hurt anymore. I mean, I don't know, 20-30 years from now. But I mean, my mom died almost 2 years ago. June 23rd is gonna be her 2 years anniversary. And there's days that it just feels like it happened yesterday. And I mean, there's a lot of times that you're somewhere and you just wish they were there, or you going through a milestone or something like that, and you wish they were there. Like you feel like you cannot completely enjoy it because they're not there. Because you used to enjoy those things like your children, trips and things like that. I used to do all those things with my mom. So, for example, I just had a baby. He's 5 months old. He was premature, and he's so beautiful. He's such a joy in my heart, and I see him, and just knowing that she's not here to enjoy him, it's painful. But then at the same time, I also have periods when I think, well, she's not in pain anymore. She's in a better place, and I will see her again. And that's when you come to question, do you believe the promises that are in the Bible? Because the Bible says that we don't mourn like those that don't have hope. We know that we will see each other again. And one day, Christ will come and the dead will rise. And there's times that you truly believe that, but then there's times that you don't care. Like, I don't want to say that you don't care, but you just wish they were here physically. Like, them not being here physically, it kills you. So it's like a process of like, what? Do I really believe what I profess to believe? So you go through a period of that. Do I really believe in my faith? Because there's times that you don't feel that strong. That you want to say why. Why things couldn't be different. But then at the same time, you know that death came into the world because of sin. And that's how things are going to be. I mean, some people do get healed, but some people don't. Just not everybody gets healed. Some people will die. I mean, the prophets died. I mean, Moses died. I mean, until Jesus come one day or another, we are going to die. We think about our mortality. We think about our loved ones. And it does make you want to cherish the little things and cherish, make memories. It makes you think about, let me be less angry. Let me focus on the little things, enjoy the little things. Because, when that person's gone, they're gone. Like, whatever wasn't said, it wasn't said. But anyway, I'll share in another video more about my story after my mom passed away. I'm kind of new. It's like my first video I'm putting out there. But I just want to tell you that you're not alone. Grief is real. It's a process. But you have to keep living. And one thing that's helping me at this point is that I think that my mom was strong, so I have to be strong like she is. Because when she was alive, she used to let me know all the time that she was very proud of me. I even found a letter of her from 10 years ago that she wrote to me. And she felt so proud in that letter. She was so beautiful. She even mentioned about a blue flower that I gave her for Mother's Day and how she was so proud of me. And I was like, wow, like, she was so proud of me then. Imagine how proud she was of me now. So. But I mean, yeah, it's like you go through a process of denial. You go through a process of, this is like, you get desperate. Like, you will just go on your knees and cry because you can't believe they're not here anymore. Like, they're really not coming back. So I went through all this process. Like I said before, like, I decided to cremate my mom to in the future to be able to take her with me wherever I decide to, to move, and then find a resting place for her. But that was another process, because I'll talk about it more in another video. But yeah, the whole process of the cremation was another thing that I didn't thought about. I probably would have, I don't know if I would have done it different, but that was like another process of the cremation, and then dealing with my faith and do I really believe what I believe, being in denial, and trying to find strength where you don't have any strength. But I tell you something, God is real, and throughout this process, I'm not going to tell you that I haven't felt the pain or been through everything I've been through, but I have, like, God has been with me, and I have had, in little things that God shows you, I'm here with you, you're not alone. And it's a process. But I think it's good to talk about it. I think it's good to write about it, to share things, because sometimes you feel like you don't want to share with people anymore because some people be, oh, it happened such a long time ago. Why you still feel this way? Why you still cry? But you know what? There's platforms like this where you could just talk about it and share your story, and someone else that's going through it might understand why you still feel like this 2 years later. I am definitely in a better place. I wasn't always where I am now, but it is a process. And and you know what? There's nothing wrong about crying about it until you can't cry anymore. And it's good to talk about it, to write about it, to write poems about it. I could probably share them in another video. I'll try to have I'll share more about the whole story, when she got cremated, how I felt. I'll share to you about my faith. I will share about how the process has been ever she passed away, almost 2 years now. Actually next month is 2 years from my trip to Israel. I'm very blessed that me and my mom got to do that, and we got to go to Israel, like you see here in our album that I made for her. This is me and her. So happy. It says here, Psalm 122 in verse 2, our feet were inside your gates, O Jerusalem. This is her, like she's going on a trip, you see? So happy. Anyway, well, I'll let you go now. I have to go get my son. He's coming from school. And like I said, you're not alone. And if, grief is a process. Grief is real. Grief is something that it doesn't go away from one day to the other. But it does get better. And, we have to deal with it. Like, you have to cry about it. You have to deal with it. You have to feel the pain. You can't hide from it, And, okay, until next time.
God of creation, there at the start, before the beginning of time. With no point of reference, you spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of light. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. If the stars were made to worship, so will I can see your heart in everything you made. Every burning star, a signal fire of grace. If creation sings your praises, so will I. So will I. God of your promise, you don't speak in vain, no syllable empty or void. For once you have spoken, all nature and science follow the sound of your voice. And as you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath, evolving in pursuit of what you say. If it all reveals your nature, so will I can see your heart in everything you say. Every painted sky, a canvas of your grace. If creation still obeys you, so will I. Oh, so will I. So will I. If the stars were made to worship, so will I. If the mountains bow in reverence, so will I. If the oceans roar your greatness, so will I. For if everything exists to lift you high, so will I. If the wind goes where you send it, so will I. If the rocks cry out in silence, so will I. If the sum of all our praises still falls shy, and we'll sing again 100 billion times. God of salvation, you chased down my heart through all of my failure and pride. On a hill you created, the light of the world, abandoned in darkness to die. And as you speak, 100 billion failures disappear. Where you lost your life so I could find it here. If you left the grave behind you, so will I can see your heart 8 billion different ways. Every precious one, a child you died to save. If you gave your life to love them, so will I. Like you would again 100 billion times. But what measure could amount to your desire? You're the one